Hello everyone at the conference. My name is Nguyễn Thị Hảo, the PhD student at Physics Department of Hà Nội National University of Education, Vietnam. Today, on behalf of our group, I would like to present our research results about the Natural Science Teacher Training Program to meet the demands of the new general education curriculum in Vietnam. The purposes of this study is to give an overview of the Vietnamese new context of education, especially in teaching science in general education curriculum versus the recent science teacher training tendency. We also give a detailed introduction of Vietnam's natural science teacher training program for lower secondary school meeting the demands of GEC. We conduct a comparison among science teacher training programs of many other countries in the world to highlight the main features that might initiate discussion in the context of science teacher training nationally and internationally. The main methods I used in this study are narrative literature review versus comparative and descriptive approaches among domestic and international programs. The research is going to answer three main research questions as follows. First of all, about the Vietnamese current education context. Like other countries, in Vietnam, education has been always the priority nation policy. Vietnam has a unique education system at all levels due to its unique social cultural background that also affect the teacher training programs in Vietnam. Recently, the government and Ministry of Education has many policies in developing education system versus enhancing the qualities of teacher training programs. The latest stage in Vietnam's education reform stage is 2018, which is officially implemented since 2020. In Vietnam's new general education curriculum approaches tendencies-based learning with objective to form and develop learners' key qualities and competencies that leads the change in teaching, content, methods, organization, and even assessment. Particularly in science curriculum in 2018, natural science is an integrated subject at lower secondary school, which differs from the previous general education curriculum 2016 in which science are separated subject. The change in science curriculum approaches the general education curriculum of many nations in the world, such as the USA, Japan, China, Singapore, etc. At the present, in Vietnam, almost lower secondary science teachers were traditionally trained to teach single subjects of science, and just a small part can teach two subjects of science. That leads many difficulties and challenges in implementing science curriculum in the lower secondary school. Therefore, the Ministries of Education has short-term and long-term strategies in fostering in-service science teachers and training pre-service science teachers for lower secondary school. Particularly, the current in-service science teachers must achieve fostering certificates of a course to supplement professional knowledge and pedagogical skills of other fields of science. They also have to achieve the fostering certificates of 9 modules in implementing general education, organized by Ministry of Education since 2018-19, which is obligatory for all general teachers nationwide. In long term, the Ministry of Education decided to open the Natural Science Teacher Training Program for lower secondary school in 5 universities of education since 2018. In terms of analyzing and comparing the science teacher training programs among many nations, In the world, we see that there are two common teacher training models in the world: consecutive model and concurrent model. And the third one, mixed model, which is less common. We also conduct summaries of the common STTPs for secondary school in some nation in the world with two stage: pre-service teacher stage and in-service teacher stage, and we figure out many similar and different points in table number 2. There are two common teaching model: consecutive and concurrent model. However, consecutive model is much more popular than the other one. In some nations such as Australia and USA, they have both teaching model. And of course, the candidates graduate from consecutive model will get the Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Education. This means that they get the double degree. And in terms of training program, talking about discipline study, there are two types of teacher training program here: separated and integrated. The programs of Singapore, Australia, and USA are integrated training program because in the program, the candidates are trained as lead to majors of science. However, Japan, Korea, and China can be considered a separated training program because of the separation of faculties, which is called departmentalism. It causes little difficulty in teaching science at lower secondary school as an integrated subject. So how about in Vietnam? In terms of analyzing the training curriculum models, we see that there are two common teacher training curriculum models in the world: PCK and TPAC. According to Soman, the teachers must have pedagogical content knowledge, which is the combination of the content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. And when the technology develops, ITCs play an important role in education. Therefore, the technological knowledge was added. So TPAC is the combination of technological knowledge and pedagogical content knowledge. Here is the detailed pathway to become a science teacher in Vietnam before 2018. Vietnam had both consecutive model and concurrent model before 2018, in which concurrent model was more common than the other one. The candidate who had 4 years degree at University of Education could be able to be teachers at lower secondary school and upper secondary school, while the candidate get the 3 years bachelor degree from colleges of education, just become teachers at lower secondary school. They are all considered as separated program due to the separation of science in general education curriculum. Furthermore, since Vietnam Education Law 2018, all in-service general teachers must have bachelors of education from University of Education. So are there any changes in Vietnam's SDTPs due to General Education 2018? The answer is yes. And here is two common science teacher training program in Vietnam after 2018. The first one is to train the pre-service science teachers at lower secondary school. And the program is called Integrated Natural Science Teacher Training Program and STTP. And the second one is to train the science teacher At upper secondary school, which is called which are called physics teachers, chemistry teachers, or biology teachers. And the teacher training program here is separated training program. And this is the detailed introduction of the pathway to become a natural science teacher at lower secondary school and the science teachers at upper secondary school in Vietnam after 2018. It is clear that in the four-year integrated NSTTP program, the students must have to study all knowledge of science, physics, chemistry, biology, and earth science, and pedagogical knowledge. However, in separated science teacher training program, the students study only one major science knowledge, physics or chemistry or biology, and pedagogical knowledge of that major. To ensure that the design science teacher training program can train qualified pre-service science teacher, the core curriculum must has a close connection with the PLO and CLOs and the Vietnamese professional standard for teachers with 5 criteria as follows, and of course match the general education curriculum. To answer the question, what are pre-service science teachers at lower secondary school trained to be qualified teachers to meet the demands of general education 2018? Let's take details in the domains of knowledge that a candidate have to achieve during the course. There are 4 common domains of knowledge, including general knowledge, foundation knowledge, specialized knowledge, and professional knowledge, with the distribution of percentage of domains shown in figure number 5. And we also conduct a detailed comparison of domains of knowledge among 5 NSTTPs in Vietnam. Because of the unit education system, therefore, the NSTTPs among the 5 universities are the same in the structure, even though the total credit and the number of units or the distribution of the percentage of the domains may different from program to program. And after that, we give the introduction of the structures of pre-service science teacher knowledge. According to based on the Schumann theories and the reviews document about PCK and TPAC, we determine the structures of pre-service science teacher, natural science teacher knowledge, shown as figure number 6. In order to gain the science content knowledge, the student have to study the foundation knowledge domain and specialized knowledge domain. However, to gain the pedagogical knowledge, they have to study professional knowledge domain. And in terms of TPAC, to get the technological knowledge, the student have to enroll many courses such as ICT course, application of ICT in teaching natural science course, etc. And especially during COVID pandemic, because of the development of online learnings, the student can develop their technological knowledge a lot. Here is the the examples of the PLOs of Ho Chi Minh City University of Education and STTP. Like other teacher training programs in Vietnam, the PLO consists of 4 components: quantities, general competencies, specialized competencies, and professional competency, with 13 criteria as follows in the program of Ho Chi Minh City University of Education. So how to have the student develop the qualities and competency? Please look at the domains of knowledge that the student have to achieve during the course. There are 4 domains of knowledge. So for example, to develop the specialized competency, the student have to endure the courses in foundation knowledge domain and specialized knowledge domain. However, to develop the professional competency, pre-service science teachers have to study professional knowledge courses well. Here is the illustration of the NSTTP coursework curriculum of Ho Chi Minh City University of Education. From table number 6, we can see clearly that the percentage of the foundation knowledge domain and specialized knowledge domain occupy over 50% of the total credit of the course. However, the professional knowledge domain occupy 25%, including the practicum with 8 credits. In order to have more effective comparison, we make a comparison with another science teacher training program from Australia. And here is the common pathway to be the science teacher in Australia. The candidates can enroll 4 years integrated science teacher training program to get the Bachelor of Education. Australia is the Australian science teacher training program is famous for the formula 1 major plus 1 minor, in which the candidates are provided with their subject studies and pedagogical study in both majors and minor. And they are able to get the 2nd degree Bachelor of Science in 5 double degree integrated program, with the increase in the unit of science subject in majors and minor. So from our research, we give some points here to discuss. The first one, both concurrent model and consecutive model has its own advantages and limitations. The advantage of concurrent models is high integration between the science content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge, PCK. But the limitation is rigidity. About consecutive model, its advantage is provide the learner with the foundation of scientific knowledge. However, the limitation is lack of integration between the basic scientific knowledge and pedagogical knowledge. The second point here, we see that integrated STTPs are effective in training pre-service science teachers at lower secondary school at which science is integrated subject. However, separated or specialized STTP seem more effective in training science teacher at upper secondary school at which science is specialized in fields of science. At this moment, we see that in Vietnam, Vietnam has an effective solution in training pre-service science teachers for both upper and lower secondary school with their formula separate plus separate for upper secondary separated for upper secondary school and integrated for lower secondary school. And they are all meet the demands of the general education curriculum. However, the integration in knowledge of all fields of science is always necessary. And the third point here is that the coursework curriculum of STTP regulate and orient the knowledge of knowledge and skills, PCK or TPAC, that the pre-service teacher's strength is must have the close connection among CLOs, PLOs, teacher professional standards, general education curriculum, and the economy, social, culture background of each nation. In conclusion, from the research, we see that the innovation in competencies-based learning leads to many changes in general education curriculum, together with the changes in teaching training programs in which should approach competencies-based training to enhance the qualities of pre-service science teachers. And the changes in SDTPs in Vietnam for both lower and secondary schools after 2018 are not only to meet the demands of the new general curriculum, but also approach international tendencies of SDTPs. The comparison of SDTP among nations helps give out the highlight features among the programs. Even though the concurrent model may come on at the present, however, consecutive and mixed model may develop more in the near future. Each nation, there's much remarkable effort in building effective and modern science teacher training program, even though the program may differ a little bit from nation to nation. Here is the reference of our research. May I end my presentation by the famous saying of Grosskreutz. Thank you very much for your listening.